call 911 and make sure, like I said in the other video, that you create you a paper trail. Trust me, when they show up at your door, they have a paper trail with the call that was made, first paper trail. And then once they show up at your door, they're making a report, another paper trail. And what you need to do is close your door, get on the phone, and call the neighbors, call your grandma, call your sister, call your brother, whoever that don't try to go out the back door or anything like that, because then they'll make more of it what it is. But once you close your front door, they don't have a search warrant. And if they see a child that's hurt though, I would advise them to come on in through the front door and make sure that the child is safe, because as parents we have a responsibility to keep our children safe. The other thing that you need to know is that your child is not a ward of the state. Until that child goes to court and go through that juvenile dependency hearing, your child is not a ward of the state. They do not have jurisdiction over that child. If they want you to show up in court, fine. But they can do that with the child at home. They don't have to take the child out of the home. If you're fighting with your significant other, husband, girlfriend, whatever, you don't do that in front of the police officers, because you're showing yourself to be unstable. And I would have a concern with someone that would stand there and bicker and argue and fight in front of children. That is a sign of an unsafe environment. The other thing that you need to know is that family nurturing and caring for family are trying to put together this legislative session for next year, and for the May ballot, 2 petitions. One petition is both petitions are to support Senator Chip Chill's bills. We want here in Multnomah County, Clackamas County, and Washington County to have it mandatory that grandparents are present at their grandchildren's juvenile dependency proceeding. If you're going to stop the children from going into the foster care system to keep increasing the amount of children that are on the caseloads, then you have to stop them at the entry point. It's when a child is additionally made a ward of the state. And who can do that better than grandma or your brother or your sister? I have met a young man who is 27 years old, and he's raising his 9-month-old sister. His mother, who was at that time incapacitated with drugs, alcohol, or whatever her issue was, she was not able to take care of his new little born sister. It took him 9 months to fight the state and get custody of his 9-month-old sister. There is no reason why that young man should not have had. He had a job, he passed a background check, and one of the things that he did, time is not on your side. You cannot allow the state to hold your children for 6 months, 12 months, and 18 months. After that, they're under federal mandate to find permanency for that child. And that means that it's either going to come back home to you, and sad to say, but if you're Native American or African American, we don't have a protection agency like the Native Americans do, because they get their children turned back. But if they're light-skinned, then they go hide them in white families. If you're black, it's just like back at 450 years ago. We are more visible than any other color, nationality on the planet, and especially here in the United States. And with Oregon being the whitest state past the Mason-Dixon line, we are definitely visible here. You've noticed that there are so many children, African American, that are with white families. These children, I'm not saying that it's not bad, but when children are taken out of their culture, it changes who they are. It changes their sense of self. Oregon, I cannot believe that during the 2014 session, they had a hair care bill for African American children, pointing noticeably at the foster care system, because so many young African American females are getting all of their hair cut off because White families do not know how to care for African American skin nor their hair. And yes, we do have special skin. We don't go out in the sun and burn up or get skin cancer because our skin, we keep our skin lubricated with things like olive oil, shea butter. This is something that we did in Africa. It's something historical for us. The other thing that we do, we don't know how to function outside of our family. When our families break down, we tend to fall apart. Separating us does not help. Something has to be done to. We got to do more than keep shifting us around in different neighborhoods. To keep treating us as if we are of feeble mind. The decisions just made in the Trayvon Martin case sent out a message. Just because we have a black president in the White House, it's still the White House. It's still controlled by white status quo power. Trayvon Martin's case said you can still kill a young black man and get away with it. And that's what George Zimmerman did. I don't know if he put Mexicans on the map or what, but all I know is that my heart goes out to Zimmerman because what Zimmerman did is not going to stop Mexicans from being the number up there, number one, matching how many children go into the foster care system or the prison system. I've been sending a link out letting people know that there is a judge who just received 28 years for selling black youth to private mental institution and private prison systems. Only in America. There's a young man and his wife that were certified to be foster parents. A suit for $23 million have just been filed against Oregon so that this young man, they can pay for the damages done to these children that can't talk. These children were babies just out of the hospitals and children that were at least 3 years old. The oldest one was 5, and when he was adopted out, he told his adoptive parents, and this is how the adoptive parents came back to investigate, and this is how he was busted. This man that did the child molestation was a foster parent here in Oregon. Oregon has been sued so many times. This is why we're having so many budget cuts. We as taxpayers cannot afford to continue to pay for the blunders of Erin Kelly Sill and her Gestapo of DHS caseworkers, because that's what they are. When they're coming and raiding in your house, a woman can't shop in Safeway without turning around and there's a caseworker walking off with her baby, saying because she turned around to get 2 green peppers and she neglected and took her eyes off her child for a few seconds. It's child abuse. We can't do things like that. But when they take our children, we're so scared that we just panic. So look for family, nurturing and caring for family out in your neighborhood, door to door, business to business, educating. And we're going out with a petition because we want it on the May ballot that foster parents are unionized and that grandparents are mandatory part of juvenile proceedings. We have to do this ourselves because they will not allow us to come to the bargaining table. They will not allow us to come to the table to make any decision in our own lives. We need some protection, and we need to start doing it ourselves. And just like before, we need our white brothers and sisters just like Harriet Tubman did, because the civil rights movement is now in its 4th stage. And our next video will be about family nurturing and caring for family and the 4th stage of the civil rights movement and what that means. You have a nice day. Remember, if you want any 503, I'm kind of nervous, 503-875-9200. That's Evelyn Murray, family nurturing and caring for family. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank
Bye
you,
now.
Evelyn.